Hello and welcome to the channel of E-main Games. Today I want to show you the most unlucky deck of the remote Duel YCS Europe 2, because I was the only X2 that didn't make it to the top card and ended up 33rd. But for the event, I wasn't sure what to really play because I didn't put too much time into preparation for all the combo decks like the Bird deck or the Phantom Net deck. So I wanted to play a control deck, and Erkin mentioned why not play something like Subterror. So we ended up testing Subterror, but Subterror turned out to be way too fair. But we learned every time we summon Dragoon, we just win. So we basically removed all the Subterror cards from the deck and ended up playing basically like Dragoon Turbo. And for the deck, we choose 6 pot cards for consistency. Doesn't matter if you draw multiple of these, you just need to find a way to Red Eyes Fusion as far as possible. And if you start with Extravagance and it gets negated, you can still go for Prosperity, or usually since you play a control deck, you play multiple turns anyway, so you can go through both, and worst case you just pitch it for Dragoon. Then for I don't care what you're doing in your first turn, I choose 3 Droplet and 3 Mystic Mine, because most of the decks usually just have 1 spell trap negate first turn. Even if they can negate the mine, you're resolving Red Eyes Fusion, which is far more important than stalling with mine. Then 1 Terraforming, which is an additional mine, and 3 Hidden City, which basically acts like a designator in this deck. Then 1 Cold by the Grave to stop Ash Blossom and Red Eyes Fusion. Then basically 6 copies of Red Eyes Fusion. It's also very undervalued that this card gives you additional follow-up because it sends the Wyvern to grave, which can summon back a Red Eyes. Then for the monsters, 1 Golden Lord, because after your first turn you have basically 0 monsters in your deck, so you will draw a spell card every turn to use this again. But since you have no way to search it, you will have to draw it, but sometimes you sit there 5 or 6 turns with mine and get a way to draw a lot of cards. Then 1 Guru as a target for the Hidden City, but you don't grind a lot with Guru, you basically just make sure that you search one of the 2 Phoenix to stop Ash from hitting your Red Eyes Fusion. And sometimes if you don't open Red Eyes Fusion, you need to stop your opponent's play with 1 trap card and the Phoenix, and the second Phoenix makes Anaconda and goes to Dragoon from there. Then all the bricks for the broken spells. And since I still choose first when I win the die roll, I want to play a couple trap cards, but I only choose trap cards that are not dead when I lose the die roll. And during the entire tournament, I lost no game going second. So midway through the tournament, I actually thought about choosing blind second, because versus decks like Sword Soul, they make their board. You bait the negate with mine, you summon Dragoon, pop both monsters, and you have actually almost enough burn damage, so just attack with Dragoon and win. Then for the extra deck, since we're running on a budget, we're only playing 2 Starlight Dragoons, and then also 3 Anaconda. Usually you never need this, but you're still playing 3 to make sure that Extravagance doesn't hit it. Then this is only relevant if you play versus Dino, so it never comes up. This can help with, because you can link Guru away with Phoenix to summon Anaconda. And for the rest, we just play all the Maximus target. This one can add Red Eyes Fusion when Maximus send it, but this will also never come up. Then for the side deck, for more good going first stuff, we play 6 very strong trap cards that are almost good in any matchup, and 3 Ash Blossom for all the rogue matchups, or even versus some combo decks, because they side backdraw hate versus you and you have then more hand traps to stop them. I choose Ash over Nibiru because first turn I actually want my opponent to make a board, because my easiest win condition is to have mine or droplet and stun the board and then burn and destroy everything with Dragoon. So I just win by my opponent summons a lot of monsters. But if I Nibiru his whole board and I destroy the token with Dragoon, it does 0 damage. So Ash was more effective for that case. Then I'll play 5 cards versus Backrow decks. This is mainly for anti-spell and order, and evenly just blew out every control matchup. And for the last side deck card, I usually had a 3rd Cosmic in the side, but I only found myself having 5 spaces to side out for spell trap removal. So I made room for this card. What it does is usually like a spell card kaiju, you call an attribute and a type, and your opponent is forced to send one of the monsters you described to the graveyard. But the important part is the player sends the card, and the Shark deck came out and Astral Kuriboh came out in the last set. So there are some XYZ combos where the card is unaffected and you cannot destroy it by battle. So basically with this deck you go deck out versus those interactions. But since this passes the effect to the player, he's still forced to send it to graveyard, and then you can attack with Dragoon, Golden Lord and Guru for game. So I just wanted one out because no one expects an out in this deck, but I never played with any of those decks. Right, thanks for watching.